as everyone is joining, we are going to go ahead and kick this off. Welcome to our June Lunch and Learn. I am Amanda Lakin, the Director of Communications for the Nevada Housing Coalition, and just a couple very exciting announcements for you today. We have officially launched registration for the 2025 Nevada Housing Conference. This year, our theme is Lights, Camera, Housing. We are going to be at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas on October 15th and 16th. We are doing early bird rates until August 17th. I will share a link in the chat for all of you. So hopefully you will register. We're planning to have, as always, great plenary sessions, an engaging keynote speaker, and some really great plenaries and, as always, networking opportunities. That should be really fun for everyone. And we are taking sponsorships. So if you would like to sponsor this year, we would love to have you. Our sponsors are one of the main reasons that we are able to put on a really great event every year. We have a variety of levels to choose from. We even opened up a new level this year at $500. So if you would like to get a complimentary registration, as well as just having your name or organization shared as a sponsor, please reach out to me, and I will also again put a link in the chat for all of that. So I am going to hand this over now to our Executive Director, Maurice Page.
Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone, and happy June month. We all know that this is Affordable Home Ownership Month, and so we want to be able to take a moment to celebrate, reflect, and most importantly, continue to act on where we at as far as housing in the state of Nevada. I'd like to open by just saying home ownership has long been considered a cornerstone of the American dream. It's more than just holding a deed or paying a mortgage. It's about stability, it's about opportunity and legacy. And for generations, owning a home has represented a path of building wealth, establishing roots, and gaining just a foothold in the economy, right? Here in Nevada and across the nation, that dream is slipping further out of reach for many families as we know it. We know that the path of home ownership is not paved equally. Raising high or rising home prices, limited supply, high interest rates are creating roadblocks, especially for our teachers, our hospitality workers, young professionals, and first-time home buyers. And for many Nevadans, it's not just about affordability, it's about access. So this month, we shine a light on those challenges and the opportunities. We want to celebrate the progress that we have made, like recent legislative wins that prioritize attainable housing. And we want to recommit ourselves to pushing for bold solutions from down payment assistance and equitable lending practices to smart investment in land and infrastructure. Affordable home ownership isn't just about a housing issue. It's an economic, educational, and generational equity issue. And when Nevadans have the ability to own their own homes, they invest in their communities, they start businesses, they send their kids to college, and most importantly, they stay here. So with that said, as we start the conversation today, let's just do more than just observe and listen. Let's advocate, let's collaborate, let's innovate, be innovative. And with that, we have our esteemed panel of speakers. We have Josie Hatem from the Nevada Housing Division, Kathy Freeman from the Neighborhood Housing Services of Southern Nevada, and Assemblymember Heidi Kasama that will be part of the conversations today. And with that, let's go ahead and kick it off to Josie. Thank you for being here, and it's all yours.
I'm going on my share screen. Thank you. All right, not sure if you can see that just yet. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. My name is Josie Hatem. I am with the Nevada Housing Division, and I'm trying to have this just a moment here, trying to get this to go ahead and move forward here. So I'm here to talk about the Home is Possible Down Payment Assistance Program. And did that just clear out of the screen?
I'll share it for you. I have it ready.
Okay, thank you. I think you just one too many windows. Thank you very much. So I am within Home is Possible program with the Nevada Housing Division, and I'm here to talk about a little bit about the Home is Possible program. And on this next slide, let's see. Okay, thank you. So with the Home is Possible program, we've actually been around since 2014, and since then we've helped over close to actually 31,000 families here in the state of Nevada with the Home is Possible program. And one more click there, please. Thank you. And so now you find 31,000 families in homes because of this Home is Possible program. Thank you very much. And the past programs that we've actually had have been, one of them is a big one. It's Hope Brings You Home. We've helped over 2,300 families with that. That was 44 million in ARPA funds. And also we had the Home First program that was with the Home Means Nevada. With that one, we actually were able to help about 500, over exactly 500 families with this program. Thank you. Also, some of the programs that we've had, which have been fantastic, we've actually reached a few milestones with with Governor Sandoval. We've reached the 1,000th veteran that was in June of 2018. And then during COVID, with Governor Sisolak, we actually celebrated the 1,000 teacher in December of 2020. And then just recently with Governor Lombardo back in October, we reached the 30,000 home buyer. So actually with that, it's been a great success. We're happy to see this and a lot of people getting into homes. And this has been very exciting, especially to be able to have so many of our governors throughout the past be part of this with the Home is Possible program. Okay, currently here what you see here is the Home is Possible. Currently what we're doing now is we're now up to about 1,200 families each year that we're helping with the Home is Possible program. And with approximately 400 million in mortgage loans. Now, the average purchase price has been at about 300, over a little bit over 353,000. And the average household income is at about 92,956. And these charts here kind of show you what basically the majority of the program is used, as you could see on this, the smaller one here of the two, or 72% are single family homes. And then after that, it kind of goes after townhomes, as you can see at the bottom, 11.33. And then as far as the counties of who uses the program the most, as you can see, of course, Clark County tops it off with 78% of the programs of the home buyers are actually in Clark County. And that kind of just follows behind, of course, and it's kind of like a far second there. If you look down on the bottom where it goes by Washoe. So this is kind of where we're at currently with the Home is Possible program. Still a lot of people out there getting into homes with the program. We're really happy to see this, that we've actually been able to help. Our current programs that we have three of them, the Home is Possible programs. We have the Home is Possible for teachers. We have a Home is Possible for first-time home buyers, and we have our HIP DPA program. The best thing about our programs is all three of these programs are available throughout the entire state of Nevada. In order to get started with the program, they have to get started with one of our participating lenders. And the lender is going to be the one who determines their eligibility and actually apply the funds to the loan. Now, the three programs here, they cannot be combined. It's only one or the other. And also, if you have somebody who's already used a Home is Possible program, unfortunately, they wouldn't be able to use it again. Now, on this next slide, we're going to touch a little bit. So for the HIP for Teachers program, this is kind of how it works. So we created this, of course, because of the shortage we have here in the state of Nevada of teachers. We're trying to get more teachers to come and stay with our students here. So our teachers program offers $7,500 in down payment assistance, which can go towards down payment and closing costs. These funds are forgivable for the teachers program. And with this program, the teachers cannot own other property at the time of purchase, but they do not have to be a first-time buyer, which is great. The maximum income, they can go up to $165,000. As long as their income doesn't exceed that, they are able to take advantage of the program. One of the big things is that it must be a kindergarten through 12th grade full-time licensed classroom teacher in a public school here in Nevada. So that means that that's basically what it stands for. And unfortunately, I know sometimes we get a lot of questions of, who else can, and this just basically just the teachers and not necessarily teachers' aides or any of the substitutes either. So we're trying to get them to go full time. Alrighty. On this next slide here, you'll see our first time buyer program. So that one offers 2 or 4% in down payment assistance and closing cost. For this program, they must be a first time home buyer. Now these funds, they're not forgivable, and the maximum income does vary by county. So for that, it'd be a great thing to get in contact with one of our participating lenders, or we also have that listed on our website, but the income does vary by county. Those numbers just recently increased, so it gives a lot more room for people to be able to qualify with that. Okay, our next program is the HIP DPA program. The HIP DPA program offers 3 or 5% in down payment assistance and closing costs. This is another one where you do not have to be a first-time home buyer for. It's also non-forgivable. The maximum income is just like the teachers. They can go up to $165,000. This program is doing something that's a little bit different. This one does allow for a borrower to own one other property outside of the state of Nevada. It's very different. We've never done it before, but with the way we are here in Nevada, we have a lot of people coming in from other states, and they own homes that they leave homes behind, and they come here. And we want to make sure that they become homeowners when they come here and not necessarily rent. So this is why we kind of try to make it a little bit easier for everyone. So this is one of the perks and one of the things that's a little bit more exciting about this HIP DPA program. All right, so with that said, so basically those are our 3 programs that we're doing now. And now recently with the AB 540, right now we are, the program is being developed and we still need to get approval by the Nevada Attainable Housing Council. But we are looking at, down payment assistance and rate buy down is what we're looking at now. And the income limits, we're looking to go up to at least 150% of the county AMI. So we're hoping to see something like that. But basically, that's about as much as we have on this. But we're pretty excited to see it coming here soon and to get moving on this. Alrighty, so home is possible. As always, we're making home ownership possible, one Nevada family at a time.
Excellent. Thank you, Josie. We appreciate you presenting on the great work that NHD is doing. Just as a quick reminder, if you have any questions, you can put those in the chat, or you can put those in the Q&A function, which is should be located at the bottom of your screen. Next up, we will now have Assemblymember Heidi Kasama speak on her role, not only from a legislative perspective of what she saw during the session, but also with her daytime work, as she has been a broker here in the Southern Nevada region for quite some time. Assemblymember?
Thank you, Maurice, for having me on. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you. Well, the Nevada State Legislature is never a dull place to be. I can assure you of that. And as we know, it becomes very tumultuous, particularly towards the end. And there are a lot of, everybody has their wish list. Let's put it that way. Everybody has their wish list, and not all of it is successful. But we still manage with the process we have to get some good things accomplished. And I can say that Governor Lombardo's housing bill, AB 540, is an example of all parties coming together to pass something that is great. I know Josie went over some highlights regarding particularly towards down payment assistance and some of the features there directly to people. But in total, we the governor was asking for more. I think he started at 250 million. We ended up with 133 million. And we have 83 million of that, which will go towards eligible entities. So what we're looking for is partnering with people that will help develop the projects for attainable housing. So a big chunk of it is earmarked for developing additional housing. And then as Josie said, the 25 million, which is really great, which is really earmarked towards the essential workers. And so it is helping our teachers, our firefighters, our construction workers, those that are really the core and fabric of our community to help pull it together and to give them assistance, because as we know, the home prices have gone up and the salary levels have not gone up to the same degree. So that is the problem. So that, how do we help with that safety net? And then another 25 million of that will go towards local incentives towards government, so that the local governments, the cities, the counties, all over can work on developing their programs. And as Josie touched on too, there's going to be a council that reviews all of these programs. There's certain requirements for these programs on what they need to qualify for them. But I think probably one of my favorite things is it's certainly helping the essential workers, because that is a really important thing. And so this program will continue to develop with the council and the housing authority as to the rules for the developers coming in. Some of the good things there are, we can use some of the funds to buy federal lands at discounted rates that will be earmarked towards attainable housing. And that is really important for us to increase our supply. That has been one of our biggest issues, I would say, here in the Las Vegas Valley and nationally too. As you said, I've been in real estate. I got my real estate license in 1990, so I've gone through ups and downs a few times. They're all painful. We all like the easier times, but certainly have gone through very painful times too, where I had, many agents in my own office that had foreclosures happening and bankruptcies. And so, these are difficult times when we go through those difficult periods. And because of that, with the Great Recession, we had builders, to lack of a better word, were licking their wounds and did not come back into the market as consistently as they have done over the past decades to increase housing and building. And so I think we've been behind with developing that. These are incentives to help with that, because we need to have our builders coming out. And we certainly, with this bill, certainly earmarks towards attainable housing. And, I'm in real estate. I list, I sell, I have a property management business. And I can tell you one of the largest, issues for us, as many of you probably know, you have friends and relatives, is when you're out looking for homes, our home prices have gone up. And a lot of that is because we have a lot of people coming to our state. We have a beautiful, incredible state. And we have a lot of people coming to our state because we have had more affordable housing. Well, with the influx of all these people, it has driven up the prices. And, particularly we have people from California. I remember taking some buyers out to a community, and they thought, local buyers, and they thought the prices were too high in the community. I go out with a California buyer and they're like, oh, this is cheap, and they buy it. So what happens is that's the new benchmark of pricing for a community, and it just continues to grow from there. So that is a lack of our inventory. And so I don't know if you have any other questions. I certainly can go over the market trends that I see right now as well.
No, that's great. I think what popped into my mind, a question is, when you talked about wages a little bit, and what sparked a question for me was with the underpayment in services and other domestic sectors here in Southern Nevada, and with the annual losses, with folks averaging more than $3,000, not being able to catch up with the growth of the housing costs. What, for occupations that are most vulnerable to wage theft in Nevada, what are some of the implications for renters and prospective buyers? I think that's where I'm trying to go with this question. Does that make sense?
I think so. So the pressure for buyers is the cost of the home, which means they need a larger down payment. And, we have a lot of great programs out there, as we know from the Housing Authority with down payment assistance. You have FHA, you have some conventional, that 3.5% down. So we're probably internationally, across the globe, it's not that many countries that allow somebody to get into a house at a 3.5% down payment. So that's one reason we have higher home ownership in America than other places too, because we have incentivized people and we allow them to do that. we have to make sure they have the ability to sustain those payments. That's one thing we certainly, which created our Great Recession. So you have to make sure they have that, and hopefully with down payment assistance. And then the interest rates, of course, increase the monthly rent. So that's why we had a lot more people stepping in 2017, 2018, we saw historic lows in interest rates of 2, 3, and 4%. Not likely to see that again. So I have a lot of buyers like, I'll wait till interest rates come down. And that was such an anomaly that honestly, people shouldn't wait for that. Historically, 5 to 6% are really good interest rates for housing. We're up around 7% now, still very doable. People have gotten into these homes a long time ago at higher interest rates. I always say that you date the interest rate, but you marry the house. And so find the house, get into your home. Interest rate might not be perfect where you want them to be now, but you can refinance, when they get lower. And so a lot of people sit out on the sidelines too long, waiting for the perfect storm for them to have the lowest price and lowest interest rate. And it usually doesn't work like that. And I've told all my children, buy the cheapest condo, to get into something, because then you can build equity. I mean, we know the housing market, it's very unusual, the Great Recession we went to, but typically you can look at, and we've had much higher than that, but over the last decades, let's say 3% on average, increase in housing. Well, if you buy and hold and you're in the home for 10 to 15 years, you are building equity. You are building, as you said, Maurice, stability and something that helps to increase the wealth of your own household and stability there. Because, a landlord can increase your rent as their costs go up, which they do. But once you buy that house and you know what that monthly payment is, that's what it's going to be. And so, your property taxes, utilities might go up, but you have stability with purchasing a home.
Excellent, thank you. And before we jump over to Kathy, one more other question. I get a lot of calls and emails just asking, sometimes people don't understand the role of what the coalition does. And they come to us for maybe financial questions surrounding their house. And so one of the few questions that I always get hit with is, what if I did buy my house when the interest rates were low, but now with the job market being what it is, and prices are increasing, they don't want to refinance because they don't want the 7 or 8%, or even for that matter, maybe even higher than that. What would, from your experience, what would be your recommendation for those individuals?
So certainly if you've got one of those low interest rates, there's a lot of value in that and you want to hang on to that. But as your home increases in value, then some lenders will put a second loan on that, and what we call a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. And that's another way that you can pull some money out of the home if you want to. So that gives you the ability to keep part of the mortgage in a lower interest rate, but then add on with a different loan vehicle that would have a higher interest rate that's a way to accomplish that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, Kathy, please go ahead and let's hear what Nevada Housing, always mess up the acronyms, the Neighborhood Housing Services of Southern Nevada does. Thank you very much.
Hello. So I am sharing my screen, and let me know if everyone can see this. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you everybody for attending today's Lunch and Learn, and thank you to the Nevada Housing Coalition to always putting on these great events. You guys are an excellent partner, especially in making sure that you are getting information out there to the general public. So we always love attending these events. So my name is Kathy Freeman, and I am the Chief Operating Officer for Neighborhood Housing Services of Southern Nevada. We are a HUD certified housing counseling agency and local affordable housing developer here in Southern Nevada. We have been around. This is our 32nd year in existence. So what you see on your screen is our CEO, Michelle Merced, has been with the organization for 18 years. I myself has been with the organization for 13 years. And then we have our homeownership team, Dan Holland and Yolanda Perez, who head up our homeownership division. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is our core values. The biggest one being when we make a commitment, we keep a commitment. We're driven, we are trustworthy, we're dependable, we're respectful, and we are open to learning. And most importantly, we are solution oriented. And that's one of the things, those are the things that we pride ourselves on the most. Our mission, being a HUD housing counseling agency as well as a developer, is building better neighborhoods block by block. So NHSSN's purpose is to provide affordable housing through homeownership, housing initiatives, neighborhood revitalization in targeted areas throughout Southern Nevada. Some of the services that our organization offers is homebuyer education. We provide homebuyer education both in person, can't say that word, in person, and we also offer homebuyer education online as well. And that is being a HUD certified housing counseling agency, that is HUD certified counseling. We provide pre-purchase counseling and consultations, and we also offer post-purchase counseling. And a lot of people, once they get into a house, they always kind of like are, well, what's next? What do I do? So we have a robust post-purchase counseling platform that we assist homeowners in the next stages of home ownership. And sometimes that could be anything from title, how they hold title, to wealth building, to what's next for them as far as home ownership or move up home ownership. As a HUD housing developer, we also own and operate more than 177 units of affordable housing throughout Southern Nevada. So as a nonprofit, we are unique in the perspective that not only do we help people into homeownership and maintain homeownership, but we also offer affordable rentals. Right now, we are developing 120 units or finishing 120 units of senior housing here in Las Vegas, with another 120 units coming online. And then we rent affordable housing out to low to moderate income individuals. Our down payment assistance that we offer, being in the community for more than 30 years, we have offered more than $25 million in down payment assistance and forgivable grants to Southern Nevada, creating more than 2,500 homeowners in the Southern Nevada footprint. We are very proud of the collaborative work that we do. We offer NAHAC support with our partners from the NAHAC coalition with their foreclosure and mortgage mitigation programs. We offer foreclosure counseling and through other collaborative services. And we are also proud to announce that we have the only HECM certified counselor in the state of Nevada. And for those who don't know what HECM is, those are reverse mortgages. Some of the counseling that we offer for reverse mortgages aren't just for people who own homes in our senior population to take equity out of their house for living expenses. But a lot of people don't know that HECM mortgages can actually be used for purchase transactions as well. And so our counseling team has a very robust platform on that level. So as we move in, my part of this presentation is to go over some of the programs that NHSSN offers. So we get ready and say, who's ready to buy a house? And part of that is realizing the American dream. When you come to NHSSN, we will spend time with you going over your an intake and an assessment. We dig deep into a budget and credit analysis. And an action plan. So a lot of people come to us and they don't know where they are in the home buying process. And what we tell them is, let's sit down and let's see if you are what we consider mortgage ready, or what steps we need to do to get you to become mortgage ready. We do a lot of program qualifications and document reviews, as well as referrals. Like I said, we pride ourselves on collaboration, so we work with a lot of different agencies because we aren't the end all be all for down payment assistance or homebuyer education. There are a lot of other platforms like our housing partners, the culinary union program with Nevada Partners, and there are a lot of lenders out there who are offering their own forms of down payment assistance. So we maintain a really extensive database on what is out there in the community. You may not qualify for some things that I have to offer, but we will refer you to other agencies that also may help someone obtain the dream of home ownership. In part of that counseling session, we'll go through the process. We'll spend time identifying and what you're looking for in your new home, need versus want, and a lot of time discussing what is important to you as you delve into your journey in home ownership. So some of the factors to consider when buying a house is that there are lots of different programs, as my counterparts have all said. A lot of lenders also offer anywhere from 1% down to FHA at 3.5%, up to, you can go up to 20% down on conventional loans. So while we're not loan officers, we will consult with a lot of them about what programs are available to different homeowners for different products. We'll go over closing costs that we make sure that they understand their realtor can negotiate, and they're typically anywhere between 3.5% to 4%, can be upwards 6%. There's a lot of discussion around the new commission structure that is going on, and who pays for that and who's obligated to pay for that, and really talking to them about how that affects their closing costs and their ability to buy a home. And then we also make sure that they don't forget that there are additional expenses that are outside the mortgage, such as moving expenses, and they've got to schedule movers and moving trucks, and then prepare them for making their first mortgage payment, and how important it is to be on time for mortgage payments, especially their first mortgage payment. And then what comes next, to be prepared with repairs, and what if a pipe bursts, and the importance of different types of insurances, and how to navigate what's next after they buy a house. One of the things, again, that we pride ourselves on is our involvement with our clients doesn't just stop at the close of escrow. We take it farther than that, especially with our post education. And then also developing potentially an emergency fund for those unforeseen things that could happen to a first-time home buyer when they are a first-time home buyer. Because what we tell a lot of people is, when you rent and something happens, you call your landlord. They come out and fix it. When you're a homeowner, that's completely different. And we want to make sure we prepare people for, if their garbage disposal breaks down, they're not calling their landlord, they're probably calling their home warranty company, and making sure they understand the importance of home warranty, and that the importance of having an emergency fund for those potential unforeseen repairs or expansions to their home. Then we go over making sure they understand the closing process, anywhere from meeting with their real estate agent once they get pre-approved, what the closing process is about the title and what title's role is in their process, what a due diligence period is and what it means to them. In our counseling sessions, we like to promote bringing their realtor and their lender along with them, so that we all can discuss this process, and that there are really just informed buyers. And then one of the things that we make sure we have a lot of outreach is what is a first-time home buyer? A lot of people will say there's down payment assistance programs for her first-time home buyer, but what is a first-time home buyer? A lot of people don't understand that a first-time home buyer is someone that is who has not owned a home in the last 3 years. So someone who owned a home and maybe lost it to foreclosure during our previous meltdown, enough time has passed that they would probably be considered a first-time home buyer, depending on certain situations, and may be eligible for down payment assistance that is out there that is geared for first-time home buyers. We also go through that a lot of people don't know that being divorced or separated and being what we consider a displaced homemaker, even if you owned a home, you still could qualify for down payment assistance. So we dig really deep into their situation to make sure that they are getting the best possible presentation and representation from us. For down payment assistance, is on a first come first served basis. As everybody knows, programs come and go. Funding dries up, funding is exhausted and then comes back. So we want to make sure that while we initiate a sense of urgency, we also want to make sure that people understand that sometimes down payment isn't guaranteed, and that they also have a plan B in place, that if for some reason they don't qualify for down payment assistance, or down payment assistance is exhausted, that they still potentially know their all of the ins and outs of potentially still becoming a homeowner. For NHSSN, right now, one of the programs that we administer is the WISH program, and the WISH program is a 4-to-1 match, and it is through Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco. That program refunds itself every April, is a program, and will run until funds are exhausted, and then replenish itself every April 1st of every year. The WISH funds are there are a couple of different WISH providers, and they are based off of area median income. The area median income being anywhere between 78% to 80% area median income. And so on your screen, what that means is for a person in a 4-person household, the income could range anywhere from $79,968 potentially to $81,600, depending on which WISH provider we use. That is household income. And as opposed to what your lenders look at, your lenders typically look at income that is whoever is on the application. For down payment assistance, it's typically household income. So anybody in the household who earns income that is eligible, we will use that household income. For the WISH program, there are no geographic restrictions, so it could be the entire state of Nevada. There is no interest rate. This is what's considered a silent second. So there will never be a mortgage payment. It is a lien on title for 5 years, but will sit there what we call silently, waiting for what's called the affordability period to come up, which is usually what we call a 5-year forgiveness period. Within that 5 years, as long as the homeowner doesn't trigger repayment, after 5 years, the funds are fully forgiven, and those funds that equity is theirs to keep. So for the current WISH program, it's a 4-to-1 match. For every dollar that the client brings into escrow, we will match times 4 to a maximum of $32,000. So typically, if your client brings in anywhere about $8,000, they'll get $32,000 from WISH, which is almost $40,000 for them to purchase a house. We'll work really closely with the lenders on how that is structured. It could be down payment, it could be closing costs, it could be principal reduction, it could be interest rate reduction. However, the lender needs to structure it, as long as they're meeting their minimum investment, the funds can be used in various different ways. There are debt to income ratios with the WISH program, which is typically lender's standard. There is no credit requirement or FICO score requirement. So as long as they can qualify for a first mortgage through any of our partnering lenders, they will qualify for the WISH funds as long as they meet the other criteria. The properties must be owner occupied and the client cannot receive cash back at the closing. One of the caveats for this program is it also does not limit the type of program, the property that the homeowner is looking for. So they'll finance single family residences, townhomes, condos. They even do manufactured homes in certain geographic areas. So we're really proud of the WISH initiative. It is also one of the programs that can be layered with other down payment assistance programs out there. So sometimes with the Housing Authority or with culinary or with lender funded programs, they can have those down payment assistance funds and they can qualify for the WISH funds, which means that they could potentially receive in excess of $40,000 to help buy their home. And again, never make a payment on it. They want to make sure that they are creating sustainable home ownership. So to wrap up my portion on that, what does it look like for a timeline for down payment assistance? Usually we need about 30 to 45 days to close. NHSSN will pride ourselves on never missing a close of escrow date for something that we can control. We work very closely with the lenders and realtors to make sure that we are involved in every step of the way. It's not popular, but I tell people all the time, I'm like, you know, you can fire your realtor, you can fire a lender, but you know, we're the down payment assistance people, you can't really fire us. But we want to make sure that everybody is working on their behalf. So the clients will go through pre-approval lenders, they'll go through this process, we'll get copies of all documentation, and then we will also prepare for closing and then wire the funds to title in time for a close of escrow, and then homeownership begins. So that concludes my portion of the presentation, and that's the end of my slides. So I will piggyback it back to Amanda and Maurice, and if there are questions, I am here to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Great information. We will be sending out all the presentation slides and contact information. But Kathy, with yours, I think it would be pertinent for you to go ahead and put your information or who the person will be contacting at your organization, because again, you're providing such great information around or education around the WISH program, the down payment assistance, and with the reverse mortgages. I think if folks are in need of that information, it'd be great for them to just go ahead and reach out as soon as they can. We have a couple of questions that came in. And so the first question that came in was concerning home prices. There was a question in our Q&A that said, this is from Allie from Southern Nevada Live It X team. Do you see the prices of housing lowering anytime soon? I'll open that up to the
that
panel.
might be for me.
Absolutely.
Since I'm out in the market, I just put a home in contract this morning, and I have listings out there. And so I can tell you in general, what I do see with the market is that I do see a softening of the home prices. And why do I see that? Because we've had the biggest increase of homes inventory from last year. We had just slightly over 50% increase in inventory out there. And so what I see, and it's a discussion I have with my sellers as well, is before, if you went back, 2 years ago, there was one house in the neighborhood for sale and everybody was fighting over it. Well, now there is 6 homes for sale in the neighborhood, or 4 sales. And, it's the law of economics. Now you have to have the best looking house with the best features at the best price. And so we do see, which we see nationally as well, that we do see sellers starting to cut some of their prices. So I see that will continue, that we'll see a softening of the market. And here's what I've noticed too over the years as I've done this, that people are like, well, I'll even wait for the prices to go down more. And maybe I'll wait for interest rates to go down more. And I would say that when everybody has that same feeling and they start jumping in, what happens? Those 6 homes in the community start all getting offers on them and the prices start to go up again. And so when there's opportunities out there now, which I do think there is, and the interest rates might still be a little bit high, but like I said, you date the interest rate, you marry the house. So I would be out looking for homes now. I think there's opportunities for people because you're not in multiple offer situations. You can take your time to look at it. You can handle it properly. You can get the inspections done, see if this is the house you want or not. And so, but I do see in general a softening of the prices just because we see the inventory rising. And I can say along with that, I also own a property management company that we've been advising owners to decrease their rents. And so it's the same thing. It's following, a few years ago, everybody wanted to enact legislation to stop rent increases because we were having that at the time. So many people were coming in and less inventory. And now I'm advising, owners to decrease their monthly rent because that's how the market is going. And so we have owners that are doing that. We have some owners that are not. And then their homes are sitting there because there's other choices for potential tenants at this time.
Great, thank you. The next question coming up, and this is actually a great a segue into also pitching a little bit about what we're having through the coalition tomorrow at 12 p.m. We're having a town hall. So if you are a member of the coalition and you have the opportunity to register and get a legislative update, end of session update around housing and all the bills that came into play and the success built around it. So with that being said, there was another question that came in that says, can you give updates on what's next with implementing Assembly Bill 366, which is the Nevada Supportive Housing Development Fund, which was approved and forwarded to the governor for his signature. And that was we have $21 million that will be invested with supportive housing. And again, Assembly Bill 540, which is the governor's attainable housing bill. So I'll open it up. If you, to any of our panelists, if you want to provide insight, I would rather leave my comments for tomorrow. But what I will say is that just as another backdrop, talking to legislators in the building in Carson during this session, they were just so. The issue around housing was really such a huge need, and they always kept referencing how 10 years ago we had maybe a handful of housing bills, anywhere between 2 and 5 bills. And so the fact that we had over 60 housing bills this session was really a huge credit to our advocates and to our leaders in our communities for bringing this issue and making sure it was a priority for our legislators to discuss. So with that being said, and we'll put, Amanda, could you put the information? I guess they didn't see it. Can anybody give an update on the implementation of Assembly Bill 540? And if you have information on Assembly Bill 366, you can provide that as well, or I can talk a little bit about that.
Well, I can jump in, and I don't know if Josie wants to help with the 366, but the 540, the governor's housing bill, that has been passed, that has been enacted. That is $133 million, as I said, going towards that. And the council, they have broad parameters for the program, and they will be fine-tuning the application process for project development for those that want to come in and be part of developing these attainable housing projects, which is really important. And again, they're looking at eligible entities to work with. That was 83 million, 25 million towards essential workers, and then another 25 million going towards local municipalities and cities to incentivize them to develop programs as well. So those are the broad reaching things. Josie went over, the 25 million towards essential workers, which is down payment assistance, interest buy down, some of those features. And so that is being worked on and being implemented. The Housing Authority, I probably should turn over to Josie. I mean, they've been working with private-public partnerships on many other projects. And so maybe I'll let Josie touch base on that as well.
Well, currently we don't have any more information other than we're just waiting for everything to be reviewed. But basically, yes, in the past we've had great programs, but currently everything's just waiting. We're hoping to get an answer just as quickly as everybody'd like to hear it. So I'm not sure. So I have Dwight Pace, my boss is in. I'm not sure if you can hear Dwight Pace. Is there anything you'd like to chime in on here, or something you'd like to share?
It's nice to chime in at the end of this and have nothing to say. No,
Right.
we're just we've got an outline of what we're looking to do, but it's going to be based on the history of our past programs. Hopefully we're going to get a below market interest rate with down payment assistance, which will provide quite an incentive for, up to 1,250 Nevada families is our goal. So we're just as Josie said, just waiting as everyone else is, to see what happens.
If I could add in too, we kind of do our job, or some people might say we don't do our job in the legislature, and we pass these bills and we get them through. But it does take a while to get them implemented, because you get the law passed, then you have to have the Nevada revised. We have the code, we have the statute as law, and then we have the code, which is kind of the rules around the bill. And then that has to be put together. Agencies and other stakeholders work on getting those regulations in place to implement these programs. So it isn't like the next day it's ready to go. And so it takes a little while to, once the legislation is passed, to kind of put all of that in a framework that is usable for our constituents to come in and use them, and for people to understand what is the bill that got passed and how it's going to be implemented. But that's a great question.
So, and then just to, piggyback off of that comment, I've been in conversations with the leadership with NHD, and if it was really up to them, they would love to get started today and have everything implemented by the end of July or August. But the reality of the situation is, as Assemblymember Kasama stated, there's steps to all of this, and so we may not be able to see the start of this until maybe late third, maybe fourth quarter, or maybe even top of new year. Again, throughout session, during the presentations, the framework was still being worked on. There's still language and guidelines that needs to be clarified and curated. And so we just need to have a little bit of patience, but best believe that, everyone is excited to roll this out and to get this started. This will help expedite licensing for contractors. This will be able to provide more housing in our rural communities, provide more partnerships within our jurisdictions. And so, again, we know that this is going to be a game changer for our communities. Again, when you talk about lowering the cost of housing, this bill is going to specifically work towards bringing in more starter type homes, right? Condos, townhomes, duplexes, things of that nature, so that this way folks are able to jump into the real estate world and be able to create generational wealth for them and their families moving forward. In regards to Assembly Bill 366, the Nevada Supportive Housing Development Fund, that was a bill, again, that created more funding or a permanent funding source around supportive housing. And so right now we are going through the process. The program has already been implemented. We have projects going on in southern and northern Nevada. And the idea with those is to be able to see the fruits of that labor or the success of those programs once projects have been fully developed. They are going towards new affordable development projects that are right now being built out. And we won't see the results of some of these projects until after 26, maybe even 27. But the reality of it is, again, we fought to have a permanent funding source moving forward. And so that is something that we will not have to worry about during the next session or beyond, as that has been signed into law. So that was a huge win, again, for the residents and for the nonprofits here in Southern Nevada, as we continue to move forward with developing and preserving affordable housing throughout the state. All right. So with that being said, we have 4 minutes left in our time. I would love to be able to provide our panelists final comments before we adjourn for the day. Does anybody have anything that they would like to say in closing?
I can go. I would just like to again thank everybody for attending today. I think the best way we all can support our population is by making sure that we are collaborating and getting together to make sure that information is out there, and that we are all partnering together for the common goal of what's best for our Nevada residents. So, I just suggest keep up collaboration, and let's just make sure that we're sharing all the ideas and content that we have with each other. So thank you.
And I'd like to add too, Kathy, thank you so much for the work you do with your program, because what I see, right in the thick of the real estate industry is the lack of financial literacy with many people, and having them educated on we can discuss whether a credit score is a good way to determine, where somebody is or not. But
Right.
whether we agree with it, it's what everybody uses right now. And so, just the education. My parents were immigrants. They had no credit scores. So I understand what people go through. They had no way to prove that they would be good, reliable people to own a home. And, when they finally got into their first home many, many years ago, how long would that be? They were able to do it without a FICO score, without a credit score. And it's almost impossible to do today. And so I don't like that that's our only barometer that we use currently, but it is what's out there. And so just educating people early on, and we do have, thank goodness, I was part of legislation passing to have financial literacy in our high schools and to teach that, but just continuing to educate, what are the things that are needed to, navigate this world and your finances as adults, and as you get into this world of home ownership. So thank you, because I know you have these great education programs.
Thank you. And that is so true. Education, it starts with education.
All right, Josie?
I just want to say thank you all for being here. And as you can see, there's many people out here wanting to help home buyers. We're all excited to do so. I know I'm excited when I get out there. And as you can hear everyone else talking about it, we're all on the same page. So you have many people to reach out to and many sources. So it's great. And we all work together just like we are now. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, it couldn't have been said any better. Again, there is a ton of resources and monies and education that is available throughout our state. And so we just have to reach out and just ask the right questions to be able to get access to this. And so with that being said, I want to say thank you to our panelists today for being part of our Lunch and Learn. Thank you all to all the attendees that attended. Hopefully this was something that you were able to learn from and gain some new information. And then I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at our July Lunch and Learn. It will be on health and homelessness and housing. And then again, we have our conference in October. Looking forward to seeing everybody be a part of that. And finally, tomorrow we have our town hall that will go over our 2025 legislation to recap. With that being said, have a great afternoon. Thank you so much. Take care.